For those of you that have not been here before, this is my 24th year here. My name is Dave Zarin. You can read about me in the program there. I'm a former high school teacher, a Peace Corps volunteer, teacher and space candidate, 25-year TV weatherman, and game show host here in town for a game called It's Academic. But my main job here this morning, the reason why I could be your best friend, is because I can make you famous this morning. Many of you, when you write your bios, beg and plead that I will give you a shout out today to remove your anonymity. So I'll see what I can do this morning to indulge that so the people back home who are watching, because we're live streaming this, will hear your name. You know, this is indeed the National Science Bowl. We brand ourselves as a game like no other. Unless, of course, you count the Game of Thrones. And there are some similarities. There is some cutthroat competition here, but the food here is so much better than on the Game of Thrones. Admit it. How many of you are here for the food? Don't be shy. How many of you are here for the food? I like to see those hands. Specifically, the unlimited soft-serve ice cream at the Clover Cafe. Now I'm talking your language. In fact, the ice cream's renown is such that once you've tried it, it trumps everything else that happens here. Just listen to Samuel Gerardo of Valle Verde Early College High School. Where are you, Samuel? You here? Where's Valle Verde? Oh, they're shy now. They're from El Paso. Samuel writes that he enjoys all forms of ice cream, but prizes the 4-H variety above all others. Once one tastes the vanilla ambrosia of the gods, you will never be the same. Samuel swears he can hear the hum of the ice cream machine echoing through his mind even when he's home in El Paso. And he can see the delectable dairy swirls in the heat waves of the Chihuahuan desert. Samuel is here for his third time, not to win the bowl, but to fulfill his dairy-driven destiny. Samuel, that's almost poetic. It brings a tear to my eye. No five-star Michelin restaurant could hope to do any better than our Clover Cafe. What a review. That was all part of Samuel's bio, a writing challenge many of you detest because you have to write it in the third person. Morgantown High School in West Virginia has a contestant. Her name is Amanda Wang, and she put her foot down. She said, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to revolt against the status quo. I'm going to write the rest of my bio in first person. Her next sentence said, however, she feared she'd be kicked out, so she wouldn't risk doing anything illegal. Turns out the threat of no ice cream made her toe the line. And then there's Pullman High School's Wasser Khan over there. He said, I wanted to write the best bio ever so that I would just have, meaning I would just have to read it. But alas, wrote Wasser, my worst nemesis, procrastination, and its most feared vassal, apathy, tooketh over. Tooketh over? Trying to be Shakespeare over here. You know, getting a shout out from this podium, one that will reverberate across the country as we stream, is apparently so important that in years past, some people have promised to name their firstborn child for me. Witness the artfulness and desperation of some of the pleas. Pullman High School's Melody Gabrenadin, now in her 4th year at National Science Bowl, confesses that what brings her back year after year is the opportunity to watch Mr. David Zarin deliver his riveting comedic speech at the end of the event. You had me at riveting, Melody. And then, I love this guy, Charles Michael of Matsu Carrier and Technical High School in Wasilla, Alaska. Charles, are you here this morning? You've been waiting a long time, haven't you, young man? He writes he's been looking forward to the ice cream machine today, naturally, the mostly friendly competition, the exploration of the National Mall, which the team from Whitney Young Magnet High School from Chicago told me they can't wait to shop at. There are no Neiman Marcuses on the National Mall. I'm sorry. There are no stores. We have to disabuse you of that notion. But Charles is also looking forward to being somewhere where the sun sets at a reasonable hour, which we have here. He has tried, he writes, 3 times in vain to be shouted out by the great, the incomparable Dave Zarin. Oh, flattery gets you everywhere, Charles. And he hopes that this year, his senior year, he will finally hear his name. Mr. Zarin, shout it out so everyone in Alaska will hear who I am. Well, Charles, your wish has just come true. And I have to tell you, Charles, those salmon fillets that you FedEx shipped to me overnight, you really did not have to do that. But it sure did help. And it's not just the kids. Some of the coaches want to get in on the action. Coach James Brown of Valle Verde writes that he has competed on Jeopardy, hopes one day to run the Amazing Race, and thinks that he would be a worthy successor to Colton Underwood as the next Bachelor on ABC. Give that man a rose. So welcome to the finale of the 29th Department of Energy National Science Bowl. There are 600 of you here today at the Lisner. We have 64 high schools and 48 middle schools. And some of you are like Carter Kajnacki of Marshfield High School in Wisconsin, who is here for the first time. If you are here for the very first time, would you stand up so we can give you a nice welcome to the family? Nice to have you here. Wow. So nice to have you here in the bowl. And there are some of you like Sujay Maricetti of Pleasant Valley High School in Iowa, who are probably visiting Washington for the very first time. Some of you are probably taking your first plane rides ever. This is a huge moment for you, and I hope you're savoring it. We have students that are here for the 6th and 7th times. We have coaches here with longevity records like Mira Loma's James Hill. Jim, where are you? You're here for the 20th year. Jim, nice to have you back. Mira Loma and Thomas Jefferson Science and Technology High School, both here, 23 years. They have the longest record here. That's something out of 29 years. You know, we also have a number of coaches here who are related to each other. We have a married couple, Los Alamos' Kathy Borger and her husband Steve. 21 years, Kathy has been teaching. She's about to teach her very last day. Kathy, congratulations on your long retirement. You know, a lot has changed since we started in 1991. In 1991, Tim Berners-Lee had just introduced the World Wide Web. The Human Genome Project had just started, and Pluto had not yet been kicked out of the Planetary Country Club. Today, science continues to bowl us over as black holes become visible. Sickle cell anemia may be on the cusp of a cure thanks to, of all things, the HIV virus. Shepherds are now using drones that bark like sheepdogs. You can buy sneakers made of rubber that lace and heal themselves. And Felix Pay of Lakeside High School in Georgia hopes to travel to Mars with Elon Musk after he graduates from high school. That's how far we've come. And you know, I hope over the last few days while you've been here and you've been eating ice cream and competing, you've also taken time to marvel at the nation's capital. If you've never been here before, or if you live here like I do and a lot of the staff do, every time you cross the Potomac and you see these marbled monuments to Jefferson and to Lincoln, you get a lump in your throat. Patriotism overwhelms. And I hope you've had that feeling, that palpable feeling that you're in a place of importance because it is your country. You know, a lot of the avenues now look wonderful because of the springtime finery. on the National Mall. There are no stores, but there are lots of museums. The newest is the Spy Museum, the new improved version. You haven't had a time to look at all those places, but I hope it's incentive to come back. And I do not agree with Harry Truman. I loved Harry Truman, but he said, if you want a friend in this town, get a dog. That is a commentary on the perceived cold shoulder that you get when you come here. But we are hospitable people, and I hope you've felt our friendliness, and I hope that Washingtonians have been kind to you and that you'll come back and visit us. And you know, Science Bowl is a family. You are here today, many of you for the first time, some of you have come back multiple times, but we have alumni here. Our questions are going to be asked by alumni. They are here because they had such a wonderful experience. They come back, they volunteer year after year after year because this is something that has meant a lot to them in their lives. We haven't had a Nobel laureate yet, but that is just going to happen sometime soon. We know it will happen. We haven't had any marriages yet, but we have had some serious dating here. And I think one couple from California might have gone on. I'm going to have to investigate that a little bit more. But as I say, this will be a touchstone for the rest of your lives. There is a young man here who is the third brother in his family to play on the Science Bowl, and that just tells you that this is a very important event in a lot of people's lives. Of course, to organize this takes an awful lot. I said there were 600 of you here, 800 people total, and the person who makes this happen, this would not happen without her. I would not come back unless she asked me, and she actually made me sign that I would not retire until she retired, and that is Jan Tyler. Jan? Janet said that no one in this life is indispensable, but we make an exception for you because you make this work. It is Jan. It is a small group of people. Jan's boss is here, Jim Glaunia, Director of Workforce Development for Teachers and Scientists for the Office of Science. Jan's boss, Jim, is the man responsible for all the cool Science Bowl branding. Think Science Bowl socks. Think Science Bowl shirts, all the goodies, all the bling. Yeah, this wonderful stage up here, all because of what Jim has done. And there are two people here that have been here with us almost from the very beginning. Alan Walsh has actually been here for the past few years. And watching at home today, someone who started with us 29 years ago, Norma Ward. Norma, she's with ORISE, and she and Alan have been making sure that everybody gets lodged and fed and got all of their travel documents so that they can get here. Norma is at home today. She's preparing for back surgery. She very much misses it. It's the first one she has missed. And Norma, if you're watching, I remember how kind you were to me when I started here all those years ago, and we miss you. Norma, get well soon. All right, before we start the questioning, a few more bios, a few more shout-outs for you folks. 3 of you out there are going to be on national television very soon because you're going to be competing on the Jeopardy Teen Tournament. That would be Rohit Kataria of Wheelersburg High School in West Virginia. Rohit, would you stand up so we can see you? Isha Sohail of Stockdale High School in California. And Srikar Mandabushi of Ridge High School in New Jersey. Congratulations. Please say hi to Alex Trebek and wish him well when you see him. We have at least 2 of you who are entering the U.S. Service Academies upon graduation from high school. Mary Brackett of Twin Falls High School in Idaho is going to West Point, where she will major in Arabic Studies and International Relations. And Marita Schmitz of Stevens High School in South Dakota will enroll at the Naval Academy with the goal of being a Marine Corps officer. Congratulations to them. And we also have the 2017 National Spelling Bee champion among us, Ananya Vinay of Granite Bridge Intermediate School in California. She's back for her second year. Clark High School's Alex Bean is being coached today by his dad, Chuck, and Gustav Blankenship. I mentioned earlier we had a third brother. This is he, Gustav Blankenship, University Prep in California, third brother in his family to play here at the Nationals. We were talking about family. There is a young man here today. His name is Arnesh Sharma, but he says that he is upset because his sister spoiled it for him by telling him everything that was going to happen. Sisters can be so cruel, Arnesh. They really can. And then there's Andrea Avila Colon from St. John's Middle School in San Juan, who, like her fellow islanders, somehow survived the wrath of Hurricanes Irma and Maria, and only hopes, and she says, that her presence here today will make all Puerto Ricans proud. I think you have done that, young lady. Congratulations. I was showing off my socks here. Some of you, like Fort Collins High School's Larry Chen and Suhas Narajian, wish there was more National Science Bowl clothing. Socks and shirts, that's okay. And Larry has 11 shirts. I don't know how he managed that. Socks and shirts are appreciated, but Mr. Zarin, what about sweatpants? I could do a sponsorship. Talk to me. I can wear this and I can advertise the National Science Bowl. How about underwear and ear warmers and towels? Underwear, Larry? Really? Some of you seem to be trolling for dates. The personals column here. Isaac Martin of Callaway County Middle School in Kentucky writes, in third person, he is apparently quite dashing in his looks and draws all the girls to him, and has been christened Kugelblitz, which translates as black hole formed by immense heat, AKA giant chick magnet. Brandon Lee of Lexington High School in Massachusetts, Brandon Lee claims to be the greatest titan of testosterone in the whole school. Alpha male, Brandon Lee. And Brandon's classmate Sean Fay writes in his third person, he sometimes wears glasses, but when he takes them off and lets his hair down, he becomes utterly irresistible. And then there's Connor Rittner of Los Alamos High School in New Mexico, who likes to flaunt his massive medulla and his thick thalamus whenever possible. I don't know how that one got by the censors. I really don't. This close. And finally, we have two questionable characters among us. One, Ethan Levin from Billings West High School in Montana. Billings West is here for the first time. Ethan says he likes to frequent bookstores to play poker with senior citizens whom he then hustles for cookies. Ethan, have you no shame? Have you no shame? And then there's Jeff Luo of Clark High School in Las Vegas, who must have a very guilty conscience because he writes he has never hacked anything in his life, much less the National Science Bowl site. That would be unthinkable. And frankly, he would question the sanity of anyone who suggested he had done such a malicious act. I think he protesteth too much. Jan, call off the FBI. I think we've found our culprit. Nice to have you all here. Enjoy the rest of the competition.